How's it, everyone? Welcome to another string review right here on OpenCourt. I'm Kent, and recently there has been some of these eco-friendly strings. It started with Luxilon's Eco series. ReString also has a couple of strings that are supposed to be eco-friendly, and now Gamma has thrown their hat in the ring with a new string that they have released, and today I'm testing that string. What is that string? It's the Gamma Sapphire. Let's check it out. So the Gamma Sapphire's claim to fame is that the string itself is supposed to be made of 100% biodegradable material. Even the packaging here looks to be made of recyclable material, and the back of the package has a lot going on over here. So let me read some of these things. It says the Gamma Sapphire is made with a patent-pending organic technology that allows it to decompose 100 times faster than other polyester strings. And as most of you guys know, tennis creates a lot of waste because tennis gear, we're constantly going through it. As tennis players, we go through strings, balls, and grips. So anything that is more eco-friendly, I'm always in support of. But we're still kind of in the early stages of these eco-friendly gears. The Luxilon Eco series has been hit or miss. It's progressively gotten better and better for me, so I don't believe we're quite at the phase where these eco-friendly strings can completely replace the polyester strings that we've become to know and love, like the Luxilon Alu Power series. But we are getting closer, I think, and the most recent Luxilon Eco string was the best of the bunch, so I'm really hoping that this one also plays very similarly, if not better. Other highlights of the Gamma Sapphire, it says on the back of the package here, it's made of an AMP polyester string. And it basically, to sum up what it says here, it has a firm but comfortable feel. And the Gamma Sapphire, according to their website, is marketed towards big hitters who are looking for more control and a low-powered response. The Gamma Sapphire comes in one color, which is this nice teal color, and it is a simple round monofilament polyester string. And it comes in two gauges, 128mm and 123mm. I'm testing the 123 because I like thinner gauges because they provide a little bit better spin and feel. And one set of this will cost about $10.99 for one set or $149.99 for a whole reel. So it doesn't break the bank, it is in the affordable range. So I'm going to string the Gamma Sapphire in my trusty Boom Pro, and it's gonna look awesome in this racket, I know, because this comes in a teal color and the boom is also a teal racket. So I'm really looking forward to trying out these strings. These eco-friendly strings have been hit or miss for me, but I do have high hopes for this because Gamma is a very reputable company. And I'm going to string this in a full bed at 54 pounds, which has been my reference tension recently. I like to string a little bit tighter these days for more for more control. So let's get this strung up and let's jump on the court. But before we do that, if you guys like this content and want to see more, make sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button to keep the reviews coming. So let's start with the pros of the Gamma Sapphire. I'm going to say this right off the bat. I was very impressed with the feel and response of this string because it was much more in line with a typical polyester string than the Luxilon Eco Power string was. The Eco Power was Luxilon's first venture into this whole eco-friendly string line, and that string felt honestly terrible. It had a weird plasticky feel and didn't feel like an actual tennis string, rather something a company just put together with what it could find lying around. I was worried that since this was Gamma's first eco-friendly string, it would be a similar story, but thankfully that wasn't the case. The Sapphire feels and plays like an actual round poly. It holds true to its marketing in that it does have a low-powered response, and I felt good control on my aggressive ground strokes. I didn't really have to worry about my shots flying long, and the string bed had a nice consistent response with a predictable trajectory, which helped me to confidently take big swings. It didn't have quite the directional control I like with more crisp or shaped poly strings, but it had great depth control. I was getting my shot to land within a foot of the baseline most of the time, and that allowed me to pressure my opponents and keep them pinned behind the baseline. That allowed me to get to the net, which is where I prefer to be. The low-powered response definitely complemented my return game, and it allowed me to take the ball early with my short backswing and redirect power easily. With more springy strings, if I hit off-center, my return tends to sail past the baseline, but I didn't have to worry about that with the Sapphire, so I could step in and swing away to my heart's content. I really appreciated the firm response on my volleys. I was able to punch through contact, and my aggressive volleys would land pretty much where I was aiming. A lot of players talk about control on full swings from the baseline, but rarely do I hear people talk about control on aggressive volleys. The Sapphire is a string that provides excellent control, precision, and accuracy on my aggressive volleys. My touch game with this string wasn't the best, but it didn't matter because I was able to square up and put away volleys easily by hitting into the gaps in the open court or at my opponent's feet. My low volleys also stayed low over the net, and my transition volleys from the backcourt were easy to hit with the string's low trajectory. I tend to struggle putting away overheads because I usually feel tentative to take a full swing, but the Sapphire incentivized me to swing at overheads, and the solid hits felt really satisfying and they rarely came back. For the serves, this was an area I struggled a bit, but we'll get into those struggles later. My favorite serve to hit with the Sapphire was the slice and slice flat hybrid serve because this string provided a good blend of pace and precision, which I need for my slice serve. I like to go toward the sideline on the deuce side, and the Sapphire had good accuracy on that part even with a full service swing. On the deuce side, I saw my slice serve down the tee hit the corner and skid away. The slice flat into the body was also an effective serve, and that is usually the serve I default to at the beginning when my shoulder is still warming up. Lastly, the tension maintenance and playability duration on this string is very good. It does feel exceptionally stiff at the beginning, but I noticed that from the second play session, the string bed really opened up and the Sapphire provided a good blend of power and control. At the beginning, I was worried that this string was only meant for very big hitters because the string bed felt like it had no elasticity, but once it settles in, it maintains consistent tension and playability for another 2 to 3 sessions. For a $10 string, this is a very impressive feat. I also noticed much better pocketing once I got past the initial break-in period and the strings became more lively. I felt the ball coming off a bit faster, and that's when my full repertoire of strokes were able to be fully utilized, but that break-in period is a bit rough, which leads me into the next section. So let's talk about the cons of the Gamma Sapphire string, and the first one I'd like to mention is that break-in. I strung at 54 pounds, and from the first few hits, I felt like stringing that tight was a mistake. The strings felt really stiff and low powered to the point where all of my ground strokes were landing in the service box. I really had to put maximum effort into my strokes to generate any sort of pace or depth. It was rather taxing at the beginning. It was akin to the break-in period I felt with Solinco Confidential, but unlike Confidential, the Sapphire eventually loosens up and plays with a little more power, but it does take a while for the strings to settle in, unlike Confidential, which just pretty much plays like a stiff board. Another issue I had, especially at the beginning with the initial stiffness, is my defensive shots, particularly defensive slices and volleys. Anything hit off-center would find the net. If I ever had to hit a running forehand or an outstretched slice, the strings gave me almost no help, and it was difficult for me to set myself up to stay in the point. Thankfully, this didn't happen often as I'm usually the aggressor, but defense was very hard, and I already don't like playing defense anyway, and the Sapphire did me no favors. The general lack of power also affected my flat serves. I think my flat serve net clearance rate with this string was probably in the single digits. I really struggled to get my flat serve to clear the net, and that made my service game much harder to hold because if I attempted a flat serve on my first serve, which I tend to stubbornly do, it meant I essentially only had one serve. I also couldn't rely on my kick serve either, which brings me to probably my biggest issue I had with the Sapphire, and that is the below average spin potential. I wasn't really able to get any sort of kicking action on my kick serves. They would kind of just sit up for my opponents to return with no problem, and I struggled to use my kick serve as a weapon. When the strings settled in, my flat and kick serves improved a little, but in terms of round poly strings, the Sapphire is not near the top of my list for spin potential. Although the strings feel slippery to the touch, I wasn't able to really generate much spin on my kick serves. I feel like this string is more for flat hitters looking for control and a low powered response that will allow good court penetration without fear of sailing shots long. The Sapphire is also a rather muted string, and that is why I didn't really like it on my touch game. I struggled to find my feel on angle volleys, and I realized this string is probably not for someone like me who likes to get cute with his volleys. just punch through volleys with the Sapphire. All in all, I really appreciated this string for its blend of power and control once the string settled in, and the comfortable yet firm response is something I enjoyed, but I wish this string just had a bit more spin potential and a crisper feel. So who is the Gamma Sapphire string for? I think I said it earlier, but it is for big hitting aggressive baseliners, particularly those who hit flat and don't want to lose much pace, but also wants to keep their shots inside the lines. I think this string could use some tinkering in terms of tension to find the right sweet spot to also unlock slightly more power if you need it. If you're interested in supporting these eco-friendly strings, give it a try. I am happy to see these string companies make these types of strings, and I think the Gamma Sapphire is a step in the right direction, and I enjoyed this string more than all of Luxilon's eco strings. So, have you guys tried the Gamma Sapphire? What is your favorite eco-friendly string? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and see you next time. Thanks for watching this review of the Gamma Sapphire string right here on OpenCourt. If you guys like this content, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in an OpenCourt.